before I throw it to my good friend Jack Mitrani, host of the X Games, I do want to embarrass him a little bit and say congratulations, new father, first-time father, new baby girl, little Rose. Good job. And now I'll throw it over to the guy you want to talk to.
Thanks so much, Sandy. It is pretty exciting. And she is coming. She's 2.5 months old, but if you guys want to interview her, she's fully capable and excited to talk to you guys. She'll be competing next year at 1 year old. Not the youngest, surprisingly. Just kidding. With that, these guys have to get out of here at 4. I'll just jump right into it. If I can just find my bullet points here. Some exciting news. After this, we're going to give you guys a guided tour of the Tower, X Fest, and some more behind the scenes around X Games, so that's exciting. And there is free drinks over there, and I don't see a single one, so you guys are so responsible. Oh, there's one. All right, shout out right there. All right, someone had to hold it down. We're spicing up the press conference. And like years past, we'll just be guiding this conversation. If you have any questions, we'll take them at the end. Unless it's really pressing and urgent, feel free to raise your hand and we'll let you in. And without further ado, let's get to the athletes. To my right, Scotty James won every contest that he's entered in the 18-19 season and the first 2 of this season. He's going for 10 in a row here, so that's pretty insane. No pressure, no big deal. Scotty James. And Scotty, quick question here. What drives you and keeps you consistent after you've won all the major competitions and you can win your 10th in a row?
Well, the pressure definitely still gets the better of me, so it's been amazing so far, and been pretty special to be undefeated to date as of last season and starting this year as well, so it's been exciting. But what I've really had to kind of do, I guess, obviously it would be amazing to get 10, but that's not really why I started snowboarding. It was obviously winning and all those things, and the accolades are amazing, but I think the biggest thing for me is to stick to my fundamentals. I know you know what it feels like to snowboard a good half-pipe jack, and that's what I like to do, and I go out there, and if I win, and that's fantastic, and that's just been my mentality around the whole thing. So I plan to do that here at X Games. It's always a pretty special event for me and everyone else up there, and I'm excited to get into it. So.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to Tim Reed and all the organizers for just really setting it up right around Australia Day for you pretty much every year. Speaking of Australia, what's going on out there? I know you have a fundraiser going. Can you just give us a little bit from your personal side of things?
Yeah, I do. I started actually a GoFundMe, which has been absolutely amazing. I started it and I was in Switzerland at the time after Christmas, and for those of you that have seen or might not have seen, it's been pretty devastating back home in Australia with fires just sweeping our country, and up to I believe they said almost 1 billion animals now have been taken out, and then of course all the people that have been affected, and houses, and quite a few fatalities, which is very sad. So I felt a little bit helpless sitting in Switzerland, so I started a GoFundMe, and I decided as of the beginning of this season through till the end, when we get to the last competition, I'm going to donate a percentage of all of my winnings and prize money to the wildlife services as well as the fire services in Australia. And that's been really cool to see all the amazing support from everywhere around the world, here in the US, Europe, Japan, everyone getting online and leaving little messages with their donations has been absolutely insane. So definitely need people to get behind me, because the better I do, the more I can donate. So that's been cool.
And how do people find that page? Is it on your Instagram?
Yeah, so I've got the GoFundMe link in my bio of my Instagram.
And do the judges know that you're donating a percentage? You might want to tell them that. That's pretty cool.
I should tell them that. Maybe, hopefully, a point or two.
Thank you, Scotty. To Scotty's right, we have Kelly Sildaru, who hails from Estonia, a land with no real mountains, which is crazy. In 2019, earned 3 medals, including 2 gold in less than 24 hours. Second woman in first year to win 3 medals in the same event. It's pretty mind-blowing. And she's competing again in all 3 ski disciplines, and no one has won 3 gold at one single X Games, so we're all rooting for you. Quick question here. You haven't been skiing as much this year. How is your approach different since you're focusing more on school?
I really like going to school a bit more, but I think I also miss skiing a lot. So yeah, but last year was my first year in high school, so I recognized that it's really hard to graduate on time with my classmates, and so I decided to do more school and a bit less skiing, and so far I kind of like it.
What do you think about Chloe Kim doing the same thing? She's going to school as well.
Yeah, I mean, it might be different for different people, but yeah, and also I think it's a difference for me, so it's nice for a while.
And if you guys haven't seen it yet, she has a being piece on XGames.com. It's like a 10-minute short documentary that is just so cool. You get an inside look on Estonia and her life, so make sure to check that out. It's really cool, and good luck this week. I really hope you take home 3 golds. And then to Kelly's right, we got Maxence Parrot. Max's return to the top of the podium at X Games Norway 2019 in August was by far a very emotional one. He missed last year to undergo treatment for Hodgkin lymphoma cancer and completed the last of 12 chemotherapy treatments in late June. Has made the podium in 8 of his 9 X Games big air starts with 5 golds and 3 silvers in the discipline. And I got a question for you. How has your recovery / comeback affected everything? Are you looking at life differently now?
The recovery has been great. I mean, I've been working really hard at the gym and just getting my muscles and cardio back this summer, which was really good for me leading to X Games, but also for me just to recover from the treatments. It was kind of a win-win situation over there. So that was great, and since then I've been just keeping on going to the gym, and I actually feel very strong now. I feel healthy. I feel energetic as well. So not really any problem with that. I'm kind of back to my normal life, which feels amazing. But on top of that, like missing a whole season. That was not my first time actually not snowboarding for like 15 years. For months, and that was really hard for me not to be able to do my passion. And when you don't do it for a little while, I already knew how much I loved it. Like you get to like another level of how much you really love doing your sports, and now like every day I'm on my board, I just enjoy it as much as I can, and I'm just really positive about it, and yeah, I'm just really having a blast.
What was it like walking up from the parking lot and just seeing X Games, knowing that you're competing after all that you've been through? Was it different from the first time that you showed up here?
Different. Well, I mean, the first time that I showed up here was like a huge dream for me, and I remember that like if it was yesterday. And this year, of course, I had been here like I don't know like how many years, but like a couple of years in a row. So for sure, it's not the same feeling. But like knowing that I wasn't there last year, and knowing that I'm actually here only like a couple of months later after beating cancer, still means a lot for me. It's a huge accomplishment that I've been able to do, and I'm just really proud of myself for that.
It's such an inspiring comeback. You know, we're used to like broken bones and like things like this, but a comeback from cancer is pretty unheard of in action sports. So Matt, props, so much respect, and good luck to you for sure.
Thanks.
Gus Kenworthy. You guys know Gus, right? We need to introduce this guy. 16-time X Games medalist, the only man left who competes.
Oh my god, I wish.
6. Who put this on the teleprompter? We're gonna go with 16, alright? Just fudge the truth a little bit here. Should have just like kept it going, dude. 6-time X Games medalist, the only man left who competes in ski superpipe, slopestyle, and big air at the highest level. He medaled in all 4 X Games 2016 events he entered: slopestyle, superpipe, silver at Aspen 2016, and big air and superpipe bronze at X Games Oslo in 2016. Also, perhaps most known, he is an LGBT activist, receiving a visibility award from the Human Rights Campaign in 2017, and was one of the most recent seasons of American Horror Story. That's awesome. How do you approach getting ready for X Games versus getting ready to shoot American Horror Story?
Well, with X Games, I feel like there's a bit of confidence that just comes from experience. I mean, this is my 10th year competing at X Games, and whether or not I'm the best every year, I still know that I'm going to go out there and can put down a good run and be a challenge for a podium, or at least put down a run that I'm really, really proud of and feel good. And I think that that's just kind of a confidence that's been instilled from basically doing this since I was a kid. Acting, I have zero confidence, and showed up on the set and was like, wow, I'm for sure the worst person here, and had no experience, and it's very humbling to go from kind of being at the top in one area of your life or career or whatever, and then to kind of like the bottom of the totem pole in another area. But I learned a ton. I got to watch all the other actors on set, and they were all much more experienced than me, and I got to kind of understand what it was like to be on set, and it was really, really wonderful and fun. But I was also off skis for like 9.5 months, and just got back on snow like a month ago. So I'm feeling really, really good. I was like itching to ski again, and there's been points in my career where after doing so many competitions, you feel kind of burnt out, and like the thing that you grew up loving so much as a kid and just having it be a hobby sort of turned into a job, and sometimes it takes a little bit of the fun out of it. And I think being off snow for a while, I really, really missed it, and I've been having so much fun this season. So I don't know, I'm really stoked for this week.
We're stoked too, and I can't wait to see it. There's a premiere in here, is that correct?
I mean, the whole show's already aired, but I think they're playing part of an episode.
Well, I'm definitely coming because I want to see it. Oh wait, I know, like Netflix. I don't even know what's going on out there anymore. Anna Gasser, 500-time X Games medalist.
That's actually not exaggerated.
5-time X Games medalist, was an absolute tear in 2017 and 2018, winning Olympic Big Air Gold, 4 X Games medals, FIS, Big Air, Crystal Globe, and Trans World Rider of the Year. She was one of the first to bring doubles to women's competition, and in November 2018, she became the first woman in action sports to land a triple with a cab triple underflip, and broke the internet in half. It was just like, exploded. With women's snowboarding progressing so quickly, do you think triple corks will become a staple for women's competitions?
Yes, I think so. I think it's the next years is like gonna be a big progression, and just watching everyone ride this week and like the last couple months, it's progressing so fast, and I have to try to keep up with everyone now.
Really? I feel like it's almost the other way around. Like you're the one that keeps pushing it, but the elephant in the room, do you think you're gonna throw a triple this weekend, or should we just go home? I'm just kidding. Do you think it's possible that we might see a triple?
Of course, it would be a big dream of mine to show it here. It's like the biggest stage to show it, and the jump would be big enough. But to be honest, my practice so far, I didn't quite get the speed on the jump, so I think this is gonna be the biggest challenge for me, and this is probably be the deciding factor if I'm gonna try it or not.
What was it like when you did the triple? What was the motivation? Was it just the people around you, or what's the golden ticket?
I've had it on my mind for a while, and I never thought that I couldn't do it. Like I always, like it's been a goal for mine, and it was a perfect day, and snowboarding is all about feeling, and in that moment I just felt it.
Well, triple or not, we're really excited to watch you compete. Best of luck to you this weekend. And our oldest competitor here on the right here, Tim Reed. 40 X Games medals. Tim Reed, the VP of X Games, we all know him very well. Little known fact, but in addition to being an avid snowboarder, Tim played football and basketball at Yale and couldn't make it to the pro league, so hey, here he is in the action sports world, just like some of us. No, just kidding. He started as an intern sweeping ramps in the early days of X Games, and as I said earlier in this panel that we were doing, he's the most generous and positive person that I know, and he's the best leader that we could all have hope for with X Games. So much love and respect for Tim Reed for driving this ship. Which of the new disciplines we're adding are you most excited about? And why so many jam session formats?
It's a good question. I'm actually excited for all of them. You know, the fact we had, we thought, a lot of it went into why we wanted to do different things. We've obviously been doing a lot of sports and disciplines, but we kind of tested, snowboard, knuckle hug last year, and we're kind of brought like a fun, loose energy to what we were doing throughout the weekend, and so we thought we're spending all this time and effort building these courses, and to just do one event on them, or not try to take as full advantage as we could of all the stuff we spent a lot of time building. Let's come up with maybe some different ways to take advantage of those courses. So obviously I had ski knuckle was kind of a no-brainer, so she'll hopefully bring some fun energy. And then on the super pipe side, it was, a lot of it was, a lot goes into building that awesome pipe, and how do we actually showcase the top riders in the world. Many, you guys are all here. Is there other ways that we can format events or come up with different ways to showcase a wider variety of riding and skill and versatility and fun, and really let, in some ways, take the rules out of it and just let it be loose and fun. So we're excited for those. And then the snowboard rail jam, we've done rail jams before, but again, we, the rails have always been part of the slopestyle course, but people rip through them pretty quick, and so it's, what about just focusing, maybe bringing some different guys who just focus on that and kind of see what happens. So I'm excited for all of them, and I think it's just an opportunity for us to keep innovating.
That's what it's all about. You see the tricks innovating, so it's nice to innovate, whether it's the features or the formats. But what about what's the mentality behind all the new jam formats?
Yeah, the jam formats, I think a lot of it is how do we actually create more action, more energy, more pace. There's, historically, you guys all know this better than anyone, we've been running events, and to run a snowboard men's pipe contest takes like 90 minutes, 95 minutes. We show 3 runs, and we get this opportunity to showcase snowboarding and skiing, and in our mind it's like, how do we actually show as much snowboarding and skiing as possible? And so how do we actually speed things up, get more action, spend less time waiting? So it's really, the biggest thing is less waiting, more skiing, more snowboarding, so that we have an opportunity to, I think, excite the audience and keep them engaged with our shows. So, and again, I know this isn't easy on any of you guys because it's a little bit new, it's different, and so we really appreciate you kind of going down this road to try new, be different. And I think a lot of things that X Games has done throughout the years is to push and try new things, and maybe not just be set with how we're doing things. And so we really appreciate you guys and being flexible. And again, I still think it's going to be awesome, and you guys are going to do what you're going to do.
What do you guys think of the new events, like Rail Jam, Knuckle Hug, Super Pipe Session? What do you guys think? Smooth.
For the half pipe, I think it's actually going to be really good. I think nowadays, with how fast the snowboarding, both slopestyle and half pipe, it's progressing, you can kind of start to lose the element of what I feel like snowboarding is to a lot of us, which is an opportunity to express our creativity, show people what we think is cool. And having a jam format is an opportunity not only to put down the best run that you work really hard for and make it really technical and go upside down X amount of times now, but then we also need to show an element where you can ride switch and you're not just doing this this same thing over and over and over again. So you've got to kind of broaden the horizon and show the judges that you are quite versatile in the half pipe and as a snowboarder or a skier. And I think that's going to be really special to show that, and I think it will be much more fast-paced. 30 minutes to do the best you can, show everyone what you want to show them, and then that's it. So I think it will be good and be exciting to watch.
Absolutely. Anybody else on the new events?
Well, even in slopestyle, I think it's going to be a really fun format, just to all be riding like quickly. It's pretty much just like if the practice was continuing in a way. And of course, like the pressure is a little bit less because you get more runs, and you actually get to show the world more tricks you can do and more different things, like Scotty said, which is really great, I think. And also having the rail jam and the knuckle up, which I'm not doing, but I think it's great to bring those as well, because these are just other events. The knuckle up is just kind of innovating events, and I think we we have to innovate in any sports, so it's cool to have new events like this. And yeah, like you said, for the Rail Jam, it's great because like most of the time in slopestyle, we mostly focus on the jumps, and it's going to be great to have a Rail Jam and to see actually what like the hardest tricks can be possible on those rails, you know?
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun to watch the Rail Jam. Anybody else before we move on? All right. With X Games expanding to include more international events around the world and offering more content throughout the year, from your view, how do you see X Games affecting your sports and the action sports industry at large? Anybody want to take that?
I think it's really rad. I think that the more you have our sports showcased in different countries and in different venues, the more people get to see the sport, the more participation you get, kind of like the broader awareness you have of everything it is that we're doing, and it gives us more opportunities to compete on a big stage. For me, aside from the Olympics, like nothing is even in comparison to X Games, so I'm stoked to just have more X Games, and of course there's other events and they all have merit, but in my eyes, like this is what I dreamed of as a kid, and this is still kind of like the top tier and the best you can do. And so like this is the world stage, and Olympics happens every 4 years, but X Games happens every year, and now like 3 times a year.
More like 7, I think. What is it now? It's getting up there. 5? Anybody else?
That's the first time we'll ever do 3 winters in 1 year. It's cool.
Good year. It's coming up too, Chong Li, like 3 weeks.
Tim doesn't even know this yet, but there will be a Winter X Games in Australia as soon as I get my half pipe there. And you heard it first from me, right?
I love it.
So that's what the GoFundMe's for. You're bringing X Games to Sydney. I like it. Anybody else on what X Games means to you guys compared to other events? No? Okay.
I think I'll say
best.
something like that. You know, I get the perspective of sitting up here and listening to all your guys' stories, and it just, again, for me, it reminds me like why I love working on this, because I get to hear, you know, a variety of personalities, stories, and I think it's what's always cool about X Games is it brings together a really pretty diverse community of athletes, but everyone's pretty like-minded. So again, we appreciate it, and you guys are awesome.
For sure. And the athlete lounge, I mean, I'm surprised you guys didn't mention the athlete lounge compared to other events. That place is just like a healing center. It's amazing. Get a haircut, a little spin bike, circulation things for your legs. It's pretty awesome in there. Last question, what was your first or earliest memories about X Games? Do you guys remember like the first invitation you got? I remember my first invitation and just like freaking out. Like, thought it was going to the wrong email. I was like, no way.
Yeah, I do remember the first time I got invited to X Games, and this was definitely a dream of mine when I was a kid. And just to participate at X Games was like a dream achieved for me. And the first time I got here on slopestyle, I made a final, and that was already like much more than I ever dreamed of. And then I even ended up with a silver medal at first year. So that was like the little kid at the end. Really crazy. A moment I'll remember for the rest of my life, that's for sure.
Danny, what was the stat? Like 62%?
Yeah, 62% of the athletes competing at this year's X Games were not born yet when we started.
Not to make you feel old or anything. Yeah. That's wild. It's 3:55. We got 5 minutes before. Who needs to Gus and Gus and Kelly? Do you guys have any questions for Gus and Kelly before we go back to doing what they do?
Gus, congratulations on becoming a British Olympian.
Well, I haven't gone to the Olympics for Britain yet, but...
But you're going to. Can you speak to that? It's new.
Yeah, I was born in the UK, lived in the UK for the first couple years of my life. My mom's British, was raised in the States, and basically in the lead up to the 2014 Olympics, I kind of knew that I had the opportunity to ski for GB or the US, and at that time, the only part of the decision was like, well, it'd be so much easier to go for GB because there's much less people competing, but I ultimately didn't want to have it be considered like a cop-out, and I didn't kind of like want to put that out there, so I just competed for the US, and I made the team, and I got a medal, and it was really, really amazing. But I didn't get to go for halfpipe. I earned my spot, and the US team took it and gave it to someone else and said it was coach's discretion, so that was a bit of a bummer, but also something that happens when you're competing for a country that just has so much talent. And then in 2018, kind of the same deal, competed for the US again, and just felt so wrecked through the qualifying process. The US does it at the very last minute. I was the only US person trying to go for pipe and slope, so I was competing twice as much as everyone. There's 5 events in like 4 weeks, and I was doing 2 disciplines, and I was just destroyed. Like, my body was completely wrecked, and I made it again for slope, didn't have the performance that I wanted to have there, and was kind of thinking that that was going to be my last Olympics, and that that was maybe going to be the end of me competing, and ultimately just decided that I have more in the tank, and there are other things that I want to do in my life, but they can all kind of wait, and skiing can't. I mean, speaking to like everyone being so much younger, I remember being announced as the youngest guy at this event, and I am for sure one of the oldest guys competing now in ski, pipe, and slope. And I know it definitely has a timestamp on it, and I think I have 2 more years for another Olympics and a couple more X Games, and I'm really excited about that. And when I was thinking about going back to the games and thinking about how I wanted to do it, I kind of felt like it's my last opportunity to go. My mom has been there for me, like waving the American flag as a British lady for a bunch of years, and I wanted to kind of pay her respect and do it in her honor, and do it with the British flag, and also knew that I think I could go for the US again, but it would be kind of like a fight to the end, and so I think a little bit of it was self-preservation.
Quick follow-up.
Not necessarily. I think it'll kind of keep my training schedule, but like I'll have less to do to qualify. A couple of World Cups and a couple of finishes hopefully will secure me a spot. Whereas the US, you can have those finishes and be ranked enough to go into the Olympics, but the maximum that can go per discipline, per country, per gender is 4. So there's like 15 US guys in the top in the world, and only 4 who get to go, so it's really dog eat dog. So it's this kind of the same qualifying process, but then to actually make the team, it's going to be a little less hectic.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I think the real American horror story is that you're not going to be representing America in the Olympics, but we'll get over it, right? And we support you no matter what. Is there any other questions? Oh, it's really
Hi,
cool.
this is for-
Just make a joke.
Hi, for Kelly. Congratulations on your Youth Olympic Games medals. Were you in two events?
No, I only did slopestyle because I had to do for X Games.
Well, that was my next question. Is that a lot to have all that travel and competition in such a short period of time?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was really tired there already because I skied like 3 days in a row, and we had to go to Lisan, or the place where the competition was, by public transportation. So we had a really long day, and it was just so hard. And pretty much then the next day I flew out to US and then had practice right here in halfpipe. So didn't have much time to rest, and now I'm doing big air slopestyle and halfpipe again. So I'm pretty tired and my body is feeling quite sore, but trying to enjoy it as much as I can, and yeah.
And you'll be able to use some of that momentum, though, you think, even though you're tired, just ski through it?
Can you say it again?
You're young. You'll be able to use to use that energy, though, of competing, having just been in that.
I mean, I think I always want to have fun when I'm skiing, and I think that's the most important thing in life as well, to enjoy the things. So that's, I think, what I'm going to try to do, like have fun and enjoy, and then see how it goes.
Any other questions?
For Gus and for Scotty, you you're with your GoFundMe page, and Gus, with everything you've been through, from dogs in Sochi to being an activist to now the Great Britain, can you guys talk about the power of your role as athletes who get a better stage? And are you surprised by the GoFundMe response, the response that you've gotten through the years, good and bad, as being an extreme sport athlete?
Yeah, I think it's pretty amazing to see. I think there's definitely a lot of positives to social media and what you can put out there, and I'd say there's a lot of negatives too. But when you see people use their platforms like Gus, and I'm doing the best that I can as well to put out a message that is influencing people to support, in my case, the Australian bushfires, the devastation there, and what really hit Gus in the heart, I guess, during Pyeongchang with the dogs and everything he's doing with the community and stuff. I think it's pretty amazing to use our platforms to do that and show people and expose them to things that they might not be aware of. And it's been really cool actually to watch and see all the athletes even in Australia right now during the Australian Open. Serena Williams, she donated her winnings from Auckland, and all the tennis players, really respecting and seeing what's happened back there and using, their massive following to get people an awareness around it. So I think it's definitely pretty important to always use your platforms as a way to spread the word of what you're trying to do, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that just as a person, as a citizen, it's so important to kind of use your voice, stand up for what you believe in. But I definitely think that when you have a platform, you have an amplified voice, you have a way to reach more people, and so you can kind of use your voice to speak up on behalf of the disenfranchised voices, to speak up on behalf of causes that you believe in, like Scotty's doing, and you really have an opportunity to reach a lot of people. So I think it's really important to do it, and I think it's easy to sometimes ignore that and just focus on yourself and everything like that, but eventually there are things that you come across that move you, and you kind of at that point don't have a choice to ignore them, and then it kind of becomes important for you to do everything that you can. And last year for me, that was the AIDS life cycle. I did a bike ride from San Francisco to LA and raised like $300,000, and that was like one of the highlights of my life, like the most important things that I've gotten to do. And it was not something that I even considered doing years before, but then when you come across a cause that really connects with you, you just want to do as much as you can for it. And I think it's very commendable what Scotty's doing, and I think that there's so many athletes that do things to better the sport for a next generation and to better any cause that they believe in. So it's just important to use our voice and our platform.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Callie and Gus. You guys can go. You're dismissed. We get a round of applause for these two superhumans. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Now that they left, everyone's like, no, we're actually good to go. All right, I'll just quickly run through, before we close out, key initiatives here at X Games. We got Kids Day on Friday. We'll have kids who have gone through the Shred Hate program. We got a pizza party, spending some time with some athlete ambassadors, so that's gonna be really fun. Women's Day, celebrating women here. We got panels, film screenings, etc. here in Studio X. There's film series here in the Ice Dome, and tonight up at the Super Pipe is the men's snowboard Super Pipe. Eliminations at 7 p.m. So a lot going on, and of course, you can meet with these guys one-on-one after this. And I just, before we close out, wanted to thank each and every single one of you guys, all the athletes, Tim, all of you guys. We all know that time is the most valuable resource, so thanks for the time and the support, because without the media, nobody knows what amazing things that these guys are doing. So we appreciate the support from the media and of course the time from the athletes that you've given us. So many thanks. Another press conference in the books, and again, free alcohol over there. We got some mac and cheese bites over here to your left, and you can't skip out on the sliders. They're delicious. Thank you.